Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Before I begin, I'd like to introduce some dignitaries who have joined us here today. I think it's a very important relationship that we've had, and that's with our great neighbor to the south, the country of Mexico. So representing the country of Mexico is Consul General Marcos Bucio and his wife, Roxana. Thank you for joining us today. You know, one of my, I always thought, you know, if I ever had the opportunity to influence somehow this next person to be a Supreme Court justice, whether it's for the state or for the United States, he's probably my favorite, I think the best in the county, and that's State District Judge Fernando Macias and his wife, Claudia. You know, for those of you who may or may not know, I used to be a county commissioner, so those commissioners are near and dear to my heart. And we have some of our colleagues there with us here today. And so we have Commissioner Chair Isabella Solis, Commissioner Gonzalez, Commissioner Garrett. Thank you for joining us today. A big mentor of mine that I learned an awful lot from, and who really laid the groundwork for us here in the city of Las Cruces, Mayor Ruben Smith. And one of my favorite mayors that stands over 6 feet tall, but has done a fantastic job for the city of El Paso, and that's Mayor John Cook. And you know, I really enjoy going to Juarez, and when I do, we have a good friend who's also representing Mayor Armando Cavada, and that's Arturo Ramos. If I could tell you the things that Arturo does, he's pretty cool. He does a lot of stuff. A lot of fun going to Juarez with Arturo. Let's see here, representing Congressman Pierce's office, of course, our good friend Peter Ibarbo. Representing Senator Heinrich's office, Cynthia Hall. And representing Senator Udall, Marco Grajeda. You know, this next person here, he worked for the city of Las Cruces, and I can't believe he left to become a brigadier general. But okay, if you want to do that, he's Brigadier General Fermin Rubio. This lady here next is, I served with her for 8 years. I've always enjoyed it very much, and that's Mayor Pro Tem Emeritus Archuleta. And one of the hardest working Mayor Pro Tem Emeritus is another lady. In fact, I remember when she had a little stint in the hospital, I thought I could finally slow down a little bit because I figured she wouldn't be working. But no, she took her laptop to the hospital room, and that's Mayor Pro Tem Emeritus Sherry Thomas. A good friend to everybody here in town, and also recently, I don't know how long it's been, he's been retired, but it doesn't look like he's been retired because he really helps out a lot, and that's Bishop Ramirez. I didn't forget my wife. I'll introduce her in just a second. Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's an honor to speak for you today. First of all, welcome. Bienvenidos. And deep appreciation to my colleagues on the City Council, all these 6, what I refer to as my board of directors. I also want to thank all of the citizens that are watching at home or here in attendance today. I especially want to welcome and thank my wife and First Lady, Rosie Miyagishima, for all that you do, for your love and inspiration. She definitely is my better half, and I couldn't do the things I do without her support. Some of you might know that my father, Mike Miyagishima, had been ill. He had a pretty bad fall a couple months ago, but he's recovering. He's not here today, so I know he's He's probably not even watching at home. He's probably sleeping. But my mom's there to help take care of him. And so if my parents didn't show up, my in-laws didn't show up. So you just have Rosie and I here today. But that's okay. I want to thank you again for being here today. I'm pleased to report that the state of the city is strong. It's customary in these addresses to reflect the strength by reporting on some of the many things that we've accomplished together. This year, I would like to highlight a few initiatives that have recently come to fruition or currently underway. Nowhere is change more visible, of course, than downtown, where in September, we dedicated our beautiful Civic Plaza. In the coming months, we'll be watching the transformation of the old City Hall building into the large facility for La Clínica de Familia, and the conversion of our old City Hall into an office building for the federal courts. On the private side of the ledger, construction crews will, over the next year, be given shape to the new restaurant and entertainment complex stretching from the old Amador Hotel to where my brother's place stood on Main Street. The upper floors of the Bank of the West building have been fully rented, and we're awaiting the announcement of a new restaurant on the ground floor at the edge of the plaza. Importantly, in and around these larger capital developments, last year we saw a steady stream of small businesses moving into our downtown area. I'll mention them. I don't know if they've shown up, because unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to personally meet them. But hopefully, if they are here, let's see, these businesses are Dwell Fresh Juice and Dwell Yoga, Peebs and Ollie, the Southwest Creative Company, and Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Is there anybody from here? If they are, you can stand up. If not, thank you very much. Let your friends know that we appreciate them moving into the downtown area. Also, I want to recognize Ariana Parsons. I didn't see her here, but I want to tell her she's doing a fantastic job. She's the one who really helped bring these businesses into our downtown area. So, Ariana, if you're not here, if you're watching on TV, thank you for all the hard work that you do. Yeah, applause more because that gives me time to get some water from time to time. As a city, we've enjoyed an impressive range of capital improvements in recent years, from the convention center to this new city hall, from the museums along the reopened Main Street to our beautiful aquatic center, and the soon-to-be completed public safety complex on Sonoma Ranch Boulevard. This much-needed infrastructure was made possible by the foresight and strong financial stewardship of successive city councils, and is a testament to the importance of regular investment in the future of our city. You know what, I'm going to pause for a second here because, J. Paul, we have a seat for you right over here. You know, one of the things that I have to tell you, in my 27 years of being in, 28 years in politics, right over here, right in the very front here, we have a seat for although I've only lived for 53 years, I would imagine that maybe once every 100 years, we get to have a chance to have a man who embellishes everything that is good, both in our city, in a state, and in a nation. I've often referred to him as an icon here in New Mexico, and he's just a super great person. I didn't have a chance to serve in the legislature, but if I did, I would have had the chance to serve with this great man who's walking in this door right now, and that is the Honorable J. Paul Taylor. Thank you, J. Paul, for showing up today. We appreciate it very much. Now, I lost my place where I was at. But that's okay. As part of this commitment to our future, the City Council made the decision 2 years ago to raise the gross receipts tax in anticipation of the loss of the hold harmless reimbursements by the state. The resulting Community Investment Projects Fund has allowed us to leverage an excellent bond rating and low interest rates into real benefits for the people of our city. Last year, we embarked on the largest street maintenance project in our city's history, boosting local employment and saving millions of dollars in future costs. The Community Investment Fund also allowed us to install 5 new photovoltaic installations for municipal buildings, complete a citywide streetlight transition to LED lighting, and enter into energy performance contracts for 12 other city buildings. These energy projects alone have reduced city energy costs by 20% annually, saving us $1 million a year. Our ability to take this course was greatly enhanced by the guidance of former city manager Robert Garza. It was hard to lose Robert to retirement last year, but that leads me to yet another recent achievement, the hiring of our new city manager. After a nationwide search, including a second round of interviews to make sure that we had the best candidates, the council unanimously selected city manager Stuart Eade. Kind of jumped the gun there for just a second. He is already doing a great job for the city, and I'd like for you to join me in welcoming him today. Many of you already know that City Manager Eade has put a high priority on economic growth, including the creation of a new Department of Economic Development for the city. I support this emphasis, and I would like to spend much of today's address in talking to you about what our economic landscape and what we can do to build a broad-based and sustainable economy for the people of our city. All of us were disappointed to lose Sitel Corporation, which announced it would be closing its facility in March. We're concerned about the jobs that would be lost, of course, but the city has fielded inquiries from a large number of other companies wanting to utilize this facility and the talent base that Sitel has developed during the 10 years that they were here. Still, Sitel's departure served as a reminder that large companies today function within a volatile and competitive international market, where relationships can be upended by decisions made by faraway places. Given that larger dynamic, which shows little likelihood of changing, our competing with hundreds of other cities in the recruitment of outside companies, while important, can never be our only or even our principal path for economic development in our region. Historically, one of the strengths of our local economy has been its diversity. Starting with the agricultural base provided by the feudal Mesilla Valley, we have long been a retail center for the southern part of the state, with a strong healthcare and service sector for the surrounding region. Another traditional pillar of the local economy has been our federal and state institutions, like White Sands Missile Range, New Mexico State University, and Johnson Space Center. These facilities have provided solid employment for generations of local workers while fulfilling important tasks for our growing nation. Unfortunately, decreases in federal employment following the recent financial crisis have had a strong ripple effect through our local economy. While the larger crisis was beyond our control, its effects have been compounded, in my view, by irresponsible tax cuts by the last 2 state administrations. These cuts, benefiting high-income residents and out-of-state corporations, have done little to grow our economy. Instead, they've created a severe and continuing budget crisis, sharply restricting state investment in our city and in our region. This has been a blow not only in terms of local employment, but to the people of our state, especially our school children, infrastructure, and institutions of higher learning. The results have been disastrous. While our neighboring states have moved forward, New Mexico has sunk to the bottom of almost every index of economic security and social well-being. This is an embarrassment for all of New Mexicans and an ongoing tragedy for the people of our state. In my view, this decline was largely preventable. It can also be reversed. The question isn't one of big government or small government, but appropriately a sized government, where the public sector provides effectively and efficiently services that our people want and need. Vigorous and comprehensive public investment is essential if we're going to provide for the education our children need, train the workforce necessary for today's economy, and guarantee the long-term health and stability of our community. This renewed commitment to our children, families, and workforce not only improve our lives, but it would produce that many teachers, early childhood educators, construction workers, and technicians needed to build the infrastructure of a modern economy. These jobs will in turn help support a strong middle class, just like they have in the past 50 years, increasing purchasing power and resources throughout the entire region. As we've proven in Las Cruces, we need to believe in ourselves, raise public revenues, and devote the resources necessary for the future of our people. Renewed investment by our governor and lawmakers isn't optional. It's crucial to the very viability of our state in the coming years. At the same time, as someone who's earned his living primarily as a business person, I also know that nothing can match the creative energy of private enterprise, which remains the linchpin of local economic success. That brings us to the question of what can we do as a city to support the private sector. One of the first things involves prioritizing our local businesses and helping them grow. Traditional economic development strategies include persuading outside businesses to relocate to our area by offering tax incentives and other inducements. Recruitment of outside industry has been a role in a mobile economy, but it needs to be balanced by an equally strong commitment to the business owners who have already invested in our city, who live with us in our neighborhoods, work with our nonprofits and charities, and send their children to our local public schools. I was pleased to see that City Manager Eads' new Economic Development Department incorporates this strong commitment and priority. Some of the new department's first initiatives will be procedural. A key early objective is to expedite the permitting process with the creation of the one-stop shop for all business and development applications. We would like to have Las Cruces to have one of the fastest and most transparent plan review procedures in the state, using economic development document review and other tools to facilitate the process across departments. We want to bring down the cost of doing business in the first place, which is one of the reasons why the city has been so active in our interventions with El Paso Electric. And I want to take a moment to thank our colleagues on the County Commission. They too have joined us, and that's helped us really provide for our residents both in the city and the county, so thank you very much. We want business investment to be in new products and workers, and for consumer dollars to be spent in our local economy, rather than being drained off to reimburse corporate investors for unnecessary power plants. We also eventually want to provide existing and emerging businesses through our Economic Development Department, the kind of marketing research enjoyed by large corporations, providing the resources and expertise to help them market local products and services more effectively, not just here, but around the nation and the world. This isn't rocket science. Research has consistently shown that the most cost-effective and sustainable way to expand local employment is through helping already existing companies grow. We will continue to encourage good businesses to join our community, but we won't forget the many good businesses already here. One way we can help speed local economic development, of course, is to leverage our advantages as a region. It's easy to go through the list with you. An abundance of renewable energy to power our future, the film's industry love for our climate and wide open spaces, the entrepreneurial opportunities that grow naturally from our research facilities and labs, especially in the areas of energy generation and storage, water management, and new models for agriculture in a changing environment. We have an abundant public lands to support tourism and a growing specialty agriculture industry. We enjoy rapidly expanding manufacturing and transportation sector along our county's southern border with capital expenditures unprecedented in our county's history. All of these offer real and enviable possibilities for economic growth. There's one other important advantage that I want to talk about, because it affects our choices and decisions about future economic development. It's a resource that's all around us, but often overlooked. It's precious to everyone, but easy to lose. That advantage is that people like to live here. That's it. It's that simple. but it's also that profound. It helps define who we are as a community and underlies not just economic development, but all that we do. Historically, we have not enjoyed a high-wage economy here in southern New Mexico. Many of us take a hit financially to live here. We've come to prefer our great climate and beautiful landscape over a higher paycheck. Many of us have made it a priority to live close to family and within a welcoming culture. Others enjoy our shared respect for the dignity of each individual and the enormous role of diversity in enriching our lives. All of us have been refreshed by the steady influx of people who come to visit and find out that they want to live here too. Sometimes these advantages aren't easy to monetize. Much of our added value comes through the pleasure of living here, from the human networks that we inhabit, and from the natural world that surrounds us every day. At the same time, a low-wage economy causes real hardship for many in our city. What we want from economic development is financial security for all of our residents, so that they have the resources to live better lives and participate more fully in the social and economic life of our community. In the process, we want to preserve all the great things that make this home for us and give context and meaning to our lives. In my view, we can have both, an improving economy and a great place to live. Sometimes I grow weary of hearing that we have to choose one over the other. I never believe that that's the case. That's why it's significant that when City Manager Eade created the new Economic Development Department, he also created a Quality of Life Department. This reflects our understanding that economic development and the quality of life are intimately related. For us, the two concepts go hand in hand and are at the very heart of what we do every day as a city. Economic development contributes to our quality of life. By raising the economic security of our families, we increase options and opportunity, the likelihood of a job that is rewarding, and the means for all of us to prosper and advance. We also know that many categories we traditionally assign quality of life are essential for economic development. A strong economy needs a healthy and well-educated workforce. It needs a variety of transit options for employees to get to work. It depends on consistent codes and well-planned growth and development and lower-cost utilities for both business and homes. We as a city will do whatever we can to build a strong economy for our residents. At the same time, it's unlikely that we will be the next Silicon Valley. We're unlikely to be the next Wall Street anchoring international finance. These models and circumstances are already taken, and it's a mistake to be something that we aren't. It's important to build on who we really are as a city and a region, never forgetting where we've been and what we can become. I've mentioned the rapid growth of our county's southern border. Communities all over the country are trying desperately to attract and keep industry, while we sit less than 50 miles from one of the most robust manufacturing centers in the world. In northern Chihuahua, stretching from Ciudad Juarez west along the Mexican border. This border industry represents one of New Mexico's greatest economic opportunities in decades, with the potential for hundreds of support industries on our side of the border. When coupled with the new Union Pacific Intermodal Rail Center and a proposed rail route from the Mexican ports to our border crossing there at Santa Teresa, there is talk that this area could become the largest inland port in North America. And imagine all the economic activity that would entail with that. Then again, a lot could happen. Withdrawal from the Trans-Pacific Partnership could deal our country out of the Pacific Rim economy, turning our Asian trade partners toward China. A tariff war with Mexico closed down our border economy overnight. On the other hand, the more expansive predictions could come true as well. The border economy could grow explosively, with local government racing to pay for the infrastructure to support it. How can we make sure that our own residents benefit and that New Mexico workers have access to the new jobs that are created? How do we position ourselves as a city within the larger region? How do we make sure that our community remains a good place to live? Both scenarios require that we think carefully about our values of who we are as a city, especially that we have come to think of our quality of life. That's when we remember that education for us as a city will always be more than workforce training. A real education involves music and service learning and outdoor recreation. It goes far beyond the classroom into business districts and living rooms and parks. That's why the city partnered with our local public schools, our nonprofits, and local business organizations to open last month our first community school. Lynn Middle School will be Lynn Middle School will be, we hope, the first of many active centers for surrounding neighborhoods, sites for lifelong learning and engagement and support. When we consider the quality of life, we think about our public safety officers working every day to build trust so that residents see them as welcoming partners in their safety and well-being. We think about why we continue to build ball fields and bike trails and playgrounds. We think about our commitment to careful planning for growth and development. We think about how the planning is intending to build the community ties rather than impede them, through creating better access to one another and the things that we need. Some of this consists of understandings we've come to together. We won't sacrifice our older neighborhoods to finance the building of new ones. Workers in our city will receive a fair wage for every hour worked. We are dedicated to the long-term protection of our air and water and the belief that we make our best decisions as a city when everyone is involved. These are values that have defined us as a city and people, and they will continue to inform our choices as we grow as a community. In the meantime, they guide us in building the kind of community that we want to enjoy as residents, a community that we'll be able to depend on in the good times and bad. We've talked today about the value of investing ourselves as a city and the many positive results that we've seen. We've talked about the importance of a corresponding reinvestment by the state in our children and families, reversing far too many years of neglect and decline. We've talked about reprioritizing local businesses in our economic development strategies, recognizing their vital importance in our lives. We've talked about our leveraging our advantages as a city and region to build a strong economy, while continuing to build on those values and quality of life that sustain us in all that we do. This great community and these same values sustain me too. I rely on the importance we assign to one another as people. I remember that our common goal, whatever our differences, is to make this one great place to live. In case you all are wondering, those are our friends from Central Elementary, so thank you for joining us here today. I'm inspired by the easy way we continue to welcome everybody in the shared life of our city. Whatever our background or religion or sexual orientation, whatever our age or the problems we struggle with, whatever our income or station in life. That's why I'm proud every day to be your mayor, and that's why our state of the city is strong. So let's keep building this great community of ours together. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all's attendance. I think there's some small refreshments outside. As I mentioned to you, I'm a little bit under the weather. I'd love to hug you or shake your hand or give you a kiss, a small one, but I can't do that. So thank you very much for attending.